the very beginning, when I was trying to break into the industry, I landed myself fewer telesales jobs,
Oh, yes.
telesales, picking up the phone and selling. And all of these companies that hired people to do telesales, they specifically hired actors. So once I said to him, why are you specifically looking for actors to do this job? So, well, actors are used to failures because you may audition 20 times
Yeah.
before you get one role.
Yeah.
So actors are used to failure. When you do telesales, before you make one sale, you may have made 100 calls.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to be
Done
very
that.
thick-skinned, and I think that's why acting has served me a good purpose, because you have to get used to failure, because you may audition 20 auditions before you get one part. So
Yeah.
you have to be very persistent and keep doing the same thing over again. But I think too many people get discouraged when they fail. No, this is not for me. I'm going to quit. Or if they fail 2 or 3 times, they quit. I said, don't, because one of those doors that you knock on will be your door. So don't quit before that door opens for you.
Yeah. No, I agree with that because I've studied acting myself, and I was mainly I did a lot of theatre work, and I did a few extra work here and there. But again, it's the same thing that I can remember one thing about my acting coach used to say to me is, after the second audition, if you don't get it, that doesn't mean that's it, done, quit, go find another career. It means just keep at it. The last thing you want to do is quit on yourself, and the reason why people quit is because it's so easy. That's what scares people. You throw in the towel after the first round, that's it. And you were right, what you say about nowadays, people have got it, younger generations have always got it a bit more easier compared to us, haven't they? They've got all the information in the palm of their hand. And same thing when it comes to like going to get shopping, basic skills like learning how to shop. Yeah, you can buy what you want online, but when it comes to buying your groceries, how will you know exactly if that thing is fresh? Go out there and see it, check it, make sure it's fine. Yeah, I can purchase this. Again, it's a learning curve, isn't it, Silvio?
And another thing I would like to add, going back to Bruce Lee's, Bruce Lee was majoring in philosophy at university. Yeah. And in a lot of ways nowadays, I find myself, I get too philosophical, but I like to find a relation between acting and life itself. Similarities are, in life as well as acting, everything is an illusion apart from your emotions. Your emotions are only true feeling, your emotions. So yes, I get quite philosophical even with my students, because I think sometimes it tends to plant a seed of thought in their mind, which they dwell on and think, which gives them the answers. Because I think when it comes to giving someone answers, if you give them a straight answer, they're not going to get it. So they have to find the answer themselves.
Yeah.
That's why if you remember Mr. Miyagi, he always used to answer with a question. You don't answer by giving the answer. You ask a question because it will make the other person think, okay, and that's when they get true answer.
Yeah.
Because if you sell it on the plate for them, they may not appreciate it. That's why I like to get a little bit philosophical and maybe answer with a question, because when you answer with a question, that's when the real answer pops up.
It's true, because I can remember this one other quote. This philosophy teacher who I looked up to used to say, all your life people tell you what to do and what is best for you. It's because they don't want you to find your own answers. They want you to believe theirs. And you can go a whole life just thinking, what will so-and-so say, so-and-so say. But how do you know that? And then this is why people will always lack life's experiences, because they're not experiencing life. They're just again, existing on that same level that everybody else is doing. You know, they're working 9 to 5, they're paying their bills, they go to bed, they get up the next morning, they do the same thing all over again. You're not living, you're existing. You got to get out there and see what the world can offer you.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're absolutely right. Sorry, you were saying?
No, we're here to live and learn and create your own life, create your own path, and find your own answers, because all those answers lie within us if you look hard enough.
Exactly. That's very Miyagi-esque you just said there. So I guess he was your favorite.
I've got to be honest. I mean, I was a big fan of Karate Kid and Cobra Kai and Bruce Lee's philosophies for that very reason, because much of those philosophies were a plant, a seed which was planted in my head to find the answers. And this really inspired me and motivated me. And I do the same thing to my students now. Rather than giving them the answers, I tell them a story which will make them think about it.
That is very good, Silvio. And yeah, because I'm guessing because going back to the Karate Kid, because if you look at it, that movie has had inspired so many generations, didn't it? And because in a way, it kind of solidified karate in America, where most people didn't even know what that was. And same thing with Bruce Lee. I can remember one of his most amazing quotes was, "The most usefulness of a cup is its emptiness." He wasn't talking about the cup; he was talking about the mind, pouring knowledge
Right.
into the mind, pouring the knowledge into the mind and then absorbing it. It's like, all right. But it's always interesting when you find, there's another thing I once read as well. And I heard Gary Daniels say this as well. And if he's listening, a big shout out to Gary Daniels. He said, the line, even from the line Enter the Dragon, where he goes, "Don't focus on the finger, you miss all the heavenly glory." He said, Buddha said that. So it's interesting to know where you're inspired by Bruce Lee, but where was Bruce Lee getting that inspiration from? So you go back and you kind of go back in time to a certain extent to find out, okay, this all makes sense, what I'm learning, but where did he learn from as well? An inspiration. So it's always good to do a little bit of a historical digging, I would always say. But yeah, so
But
what
that's
plans?
why that's why I think, and most of us would agree with it, is every generation should evolve and get better because we are standing on the shoulders of our peers and our ancestors who brought a great deal of wisdom, but we should strive to surpass them and evolve. Even with athletes, when you watch soccer players to tennis players to martial arts people, today the level of skill is I would say much higher than 40, 50, 60 years ago. Even bodybuilders now are in much better shape, more cut than they have been. Why? Because we've got access to a lot more knowledge about human anatomy, kinesiology, biomechanics, all of these areas which help us enhance ourselves and perform better than we ever performed previously. So naturally, every generation should have more to offer and their performance should be higher than the previous one.
Of course, yeah, because every day you are in a constant state of learning, aren't you? Because it's like this may have worked 20 years ago, but it may not work now because you have to keep up with the times. And that reminds me of something else that I heard as well. When I interviewed Sensei Jeff Speakman, if he's listening, big show and shout out to him as well. He said one of the quotes that his own sensei Ed Parker said that. Uh, Once I'm gone, I hope nobody traditionalizes my art. He was referring to the art of Kempo when he's saying keep up with the times, because nowadays everything's all about, in a way, when it comes to martial arts, it's groundwork, grappling. And he says you have to evolve that with the times. So now in the form of Kempo 5.0, they've now included a groundwork grappling technique as well. Whereas if somebody went to a school and said, "Oh, what do you do if you're learning to fight? If you end up on the ground, we don't teach that. Right, bye. I'm going to go elsewhere." They kept up with the times at the request of somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I've got PhD in martial arts philosophy of martial arts science, but my area of expertise and study was biomechanics of martial arts. And when I started off in early 1980s, there wasn't much information or literature on biomechanics because in martial arts, there has been a lot of tradition. But I always put it to the question, thought, how much knowledge did the monks, how much knowledge did these guys 200 years ago have on kinesiology, on biomechanics, on neurology, on sports science? How much knowledge did they have in order to implement into making these movements superior? I know for them it was trial and error as opposed to looking at it under microscope. So this was my pursuit. I wanted to put martial arts under microscope, and I started studying biomechanics of martial arts to implement the most effective way to deliver a technique. Because when you think about punch, you're not just using your arm; it's a sequential movement: foot,
Yeah,
hip, shoulder, foot,
yeah,
hip, shoulder, and only 14.4% of the power comes off the arm, 37.2 off the back foot, and 48.4 off your hip. So most of your power is going to come from the core, from
yeah.
midsection.
It
So
is.
these are some of the things which came apparent to me. So I thought, okay, so I've got to remove some of these traditional ways out of the way because they're not utilizing the hip. They're not firing the back foot. So this was my adaptability, how I had to adapt to more scientific methods, as you like, to make it a little bit more effective.
That's really good. That is because I remember training as a boxer for quite a few years as well. And it's like one thing when I started in the first class, it was always throw a punch. And I was like that. I was like, where's the power? That's how I'm punching. There's no turn the whole thing into it. turn the whole body into that point. Hit it there, hit it there. Sorry about this.
Right. Right.
But it's the whole point. It's like using the ground, because there's a science behind martial arts, isn't it? There's a science behind boxing. The strength and the power has to come from the core, from the ground. Use the ground to the advantage and everything. Even when you're grappling, it's the reason why you're on the ground. Use it to your advantage.
And as the saying goes, power starts from the ground up. So I think moving the foot first, hip second, shoulder last makes sense. And I think this new knowledge that we have on sports science, human anatomy, biomechanics is ever so useful to implement to make our systems more effective, more efficient, more powerful.
No, it's true. Yeah, you have to, because again, you have to keep up with the times. What may have worked back in, like you said, so 200 years ago, it's not going to apply now, because obviously we've evolved as a society, we've evolved as human beings, and sometimes you have to use technology to your advantage as well. It's the reason why it's there. It's for
Of
you
course, of
for you
course,
to use it.
absolutely.
Definitely. So, what is, as a martial artist, what is the most important lesson to learn from martial arts, in your own words?
So, as a martial artist, what is the most important lesson?
Yes.
Um, Look after your health, because without your health, you're gonna not gonna be able to achieve your true potential. Get to know your body. Get to know the environment that you're in. How does the environment that you're in support your goals or goes against your goals? Um, Martial art is a philosophy. It's really changed my life in so many ways. And I say, dream your life, then live your dream. But work very, very hard at it. And when you fail, think of it as part of the journey, because it's going to make you stronger. I remember when my son has been competing for the last 3, 4 years. He's 10 years old. He's a black belt. He's won the US Open as well as UK Open. And there was a point last year I said, in front of the whole class, I said, I want him to lose, because so far he's not lost. You don't learn from victories, you learn from losses. And this is
Yes.
the message I would also like to share with everyone else. When you lose, embrace it as a lesson. This is time to sit back down on the table on a drawing board and to see, where did I go wrong? How can I improve? What can I do different next time? So embrace failure as a good thing. You may not succeed first time or second or third time, but eventually you will. It's like throwing a dice.
Yeah.
Eventually it's going to turn six. You may have not turned your way now, but just keep going. So persistency, consistency is the key. And one of my masters, he said something very clever to me recently. He said, if you want to get to a black belt, just make sure you turn up. Keep turning up. Keep turning up, because eventually it's going to sink in. You're going to improve. You're going to evolve. You're going to get to that standard and level. So quitting is not an option. Just keep moving forwards. Get knocked down, but keep moving forwards.
That's really good words of wisdom. So I can tell Bruce Lee's philosophy has properly embedded into you, Sylvia. No, I
Oh, no,
seriously
no
mean that.
doubt.
That's just serious. It happens with everybody as well. I mean, like, if you, one thing that made Bruce Lee stand out from everybody else was not just his raw awesome power, but just the way he thought. I can remember with this one quote, somebody asked him that, what would you do with a philosophy degree? And he goes, you have deep thoughts about how to be unemployed. He'd always have an answer for something as well. But that was a good answer he
Of
had there.
course, of
Yeah,
course. That's it.
that,
That's
that
it.
was that was a good answer, because if you do have deep thoughts about being unemployed, what are you doing with that time? Are you just sitting there thinking, hoping things will come better? Are you sitting there hoping somebody knocks on the door and says, here's this job, here's that car, here's this? No, it's utilizing the time that don't call it free time, call it useful time. Use that time usefully, where you can learn how to even train yourself to be better at job interviews. You can read, absorb knowledge. And people ask you, what did you do when you were off? I was learning this, 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 and this. So I see he's not a person, they're not people who like to waste time scrolling on the phone, like, what's this person on Instagram doing, that person on Facebook's doing? No, they're using their time wisely, and that's what you should do.
Well, that's certainly another lesson I've learned from resistance training or from the gym, is your currency is energy. The more energy you give, the more you're going to get back. There's no two ways about it, and that's the relationship I love when it comes to gym. Is it's not about luck. It's not about being at the right place, right time. It's about how much energy you give, and the guys who give the most energy reap the best benefits and get the most benefits from the workout itself.
Yeah, because you don't spend about 4 hours in the gym anymore, do you? It's only about an hour and a half here or something, isn't it? But
Today
again,
was literally hour and a half, one and
yeah.
a half hour, and I was out. Yeah.
Well, Silvio Simac, thank you very much for coming on my show. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here, and hope to re-collaborate with you down the line.
Absolutely.
Keep looking well. I mean, like I said, I hope I look as good as you when I get to your age and everything. And just got to keep gotta keep at it.
Well,
But
it
I
took
really
us some 15 years, right?
you're flattering me. You really are. I am turning red, but it's the reflection from my camera light up here as well. So I appreciate that. And but again, I wish you all the best and everything. And
Thank you.
God bless you for everything as well.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. All the best.
Likewise.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.